Welcome back to Crypto Shockwave, the channel where we break down the biggest stories in the XRP world and give you the analysis that actually matters for your portfolio. $114 trillion. That is how much money flows through the DTCC every single year. 114 trillion. The Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation. The plumbing underneath the entire American stock market. Every stock trade, every bond trade, every securities transaction in the United States. It all runs through the DTCC. And this week, while every XRP holder on the planet was watching the price drop to $1.09, while Robinhood traders were betting XRP goes below $1, while the fear was at its highest point of 2026, something happened inside the DTCC that almost nobody noticed. Ripple was confirmed as a named participant in the DTCC Industry Working Group, sitting at the same table as Goldman Sachs, JPMorgan, BlackRock, and more than 50 of the most powerful financial institutions on Earth, building the infrastructure for the next decade of American finance. While the price chart said one thing, Wall Street was quietly doing something completely different. And today, I am going to show you exactly what that means for every XRP holder watching right now. Stay with me. So let us start with what the DTCC actually is. Because if you do not understand this institution, you cannot understand why this week is different from every other week in XRP history. The DTCC settles the vast majority of United States securities transactions. Every time a stock is bought or sold on Wall Street, the DTCC makes sure the money moves correctly. $114 trillion in transactions every single year, not billion, trillion. And the DTCC has now formed an industry working group specifically to build the standards for digital securities settlement, the next generation of how Wall Street moves money. And the firms they invited to build that future with them include Goldman Sachs, JPMorgan Chase, BlackRock, Circle, Ondo Finance, and now Ripple Prime. More than 50 institutions in one room, building the rails that American finance will run on for the next 20 years. And Ripple is one of them. But wait, because here is what most people are completely missing about this announcement. This is not a partnership press release. This is not a marketing collaboration. This is not Ripple saying they are working with Wall Street. This is Wall Street saying they are working with Ripple. There is a critical difference between those two things. And here's the specific detail that makes this even more extraordinary. Ripple Prime is the institutional brokerage arm that Ripple built after acquiring Standard Custody and Hidden Road. It runs prime brokerage, custody, and over-the-counter execution for institutional clients. Ripple Prime supports XRP and RLUSD in trading, collateral, and settlement. What that means in plain English is this. The DTCC goes live in July 2026, 3 weeks from today. And XRP is what Ripple Prime brings to that table. Not as speculation, as settlement infrastructure. Now let me give you the number that puts this in full perspective. On the XRP ledger right now, the total value of digital real-world assets has already surpassed $4 billion. $4 billion already. Before the DTCC pilot even launches. Before Goldman Sachs and JPMorgan bring their trillions of assets to the table. $4 billion in real-world assets are already being settled on the XRP ledger today. And in 3 weeks, the DTCC goes live with Ripple Prime at the table. A broader rollout is scheduled for October 2026, when more DTCC participants will move to digital record-keeping at scale. The timeline is not years away. It is not a roadmap promise. It is 3 weeks. Stop right there, because I need to show you the single most important contradiction in XRP right now. And it is the number that explains everything happening in this market. This week, Bitcoin ETFs bled for 13 consecutive days of outflows. Ethereum ETFs bled for 17 consecutive days. May 2026 was the second largest net outflow month for digital asset ETFs of the entire year. The entire market was selling. Institutions were pulling money out of Bitcoin, pulling money out of Ethereum, and doing what with it? XRP ETFs drew $118 million in net inflows in May alone. $118 million. While Bitcoin bled for 13 straight days. While Ethereum bled for 17 straight days. XRP ETFs were positive every single week. The market was running away from digital assets, and institutional money was running toward XRP. That is not a coincidence. That is a positioning signal. But wait, because there is a second layer to this story that the price chart is completely hiding. The DTCC pilot goes live in July 2026. 3 weeks. And here is what that production launch actually involves: live workflows, real data, actual institutional capital. This is not a test. This is not a simulation. This is the DTCC moving real money through digital settlement infrastructure, with Ripple Prime at the table, with XRP as a settlement asset. And here is the name that makes this impossible to ignore: Bank of America. Bank of America has been confirmed connected to RippleNet, with direct XRP exposure through this infrastructure build. Goldman Sachs, JPMorgan, BlackRock, and Bank of America, all of them connected to Ripple, while XRP sits at $1.12, while Robinhood traders bet it goes below $1. The 4 largest financial institutions in America are building their future on the same asset retail is selling. Now let us be completely honest, because I always show you both sides. The bear case is real, and it deserves serious respect. XRP has lost every key technical support level since May. $1.50, gone. $1.40, gone. $1.30, gone. $1.20, gone. XRP is now trading at $1.12, down 53% from its January peak of $2.42. Every major moving average is pointing down. The 20-day, the 50-day, the 100-day, the 200-day, all of them. And analysts are now warning that if $1.09 breaks on a confirmed weekly close, the next support zone is between 90 cents and $1. You must respect that risk. The DTCC announcement does not change the chart, and the chart is not good right now. But here is the reframe. The DTCC does not invite projects to build the future of American finance based on a weekly price candle. Goldman Sachs does not sit at infrastructure tables with assets they plan to abandon. JPMorgan does not co-build settlement standards with companies they do not believe will exist in 5 years. The price is telling you one story right now. The institutions building the next decade of finance are telling you a completely different one. And in every major asset class in history, the institutions writing the infrastructure were right before the price confirmed it. So what are the 3 signals you must watch in the next 3 weeks? Signal 1. Watch the DTCC July 2026 production launch date confirmation. The moment DTCC officially announces the live production start date, XRP will move before the first transaction even clears. This is the same pattern we saw with the Clarity Act committee vote in May. Announcements move the price before outcomes. The July confirmation is coming. Watch for it before the market prices it in. Signal 2. Watch the $1.09 level on a weekly close basis. This is the 2026 low. A weekly close above $1.09 means the institutional accumulation is absorbing the retail selling. A weekly close below $1.09 on heavy volume means the bear case accelerates toward 90 cents. This one weekly candle close tells you everything about which story wins in the short term. Signal 3. Watch XRP ETF weekly inflow numbers against Bitcoin ETF flows. $118 million in May, while Bitcoin bled was the signal. If that divergence continues in June, institutions are not slowing down. They are accelerating. And the gap between what the price says and what the institutions are doing gets wider every week that passes, until it does not. Let me bring this home for you now. $114 trillion in annual settlements. The DTCC, Goldman Sachs, JPMorgan, BlackRock, Bank of America, all confirmed. All at the same table as Ripple Prime. 3 weeks until the July production launch goes live. 118 million in XRP ETF inflows, while the entire market bled. 4 billion in digital real-world assets already on the XRP ledger today, and a price sitting at $1.12. While Robinhood traders bet it goes below $1, the price is one story. Wall Street is writing a completely different one, and right now, those 2 stories cannot both be right. One of them will be proven correct in the next 3 weeks, and the institutions who built the American financial system from the ground up have already placed their bet. If this video gave you the clarity you needed, hit that like button right now, and share this with one XRP holder who watched the price drop this week and missed the DTCC headline completely, because they need to see both stories before they make any decision. If you are not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on notifications, because the next video we are dropping could be the most important one you ever watch. Stay wise, stay positioned, I will see you in the next one.